Hi everyone, welcome in or welcome back. My name's Amanda, your host and expressive alchemist. I'm a visual storyteller, intuitive creative, and guide for conscious creatives and purpose-driven brands. This channel is a space where creative expression, intuitive insight, and honest business conversations come together to spark clarity, growth, and meaningful connection. I'd love to hear your insights, takeaways, or topic suggestions in the comments at any time. And if my content resonates, please like, subscribe, and share with fellow creatives who might need a little inspiration on their journey too. Your support helps the space grow and reach those who need it most. So thanks! And anything else you'd like to know about this channel or my services, you can find in the description box. Now, go grab your favorite beverage and let's dive into today's topic. I'm curious, have you ever reached a point in your career or business where the desire to grow just wasn't there? Maybe you hit a level of success you'd worked so hard for, only to realize it didn't feel the way you thought it would. Or maybe burnout crept in slowly, and one day continuing in the way you had been felt impossible. You knew something had to change, maybe you needed change, but had no idea what that change even looked like. If you've ever found yourself in that foggy in-between space, you're not alone. In this episode, we're going to talk about burnout not just as exhaustion, but as a message, what it can reveal, what it asks of us, and how it led me to make one of the biggest shifts in my business. I don't know if you're one of these people who are driven and ambitious and stop at nothing until they reach their goal. Sometimes you push through even when your body, your mind, and your soul say stop. Now, sometimes that drive and ambition is important. It's how we get things done. It's how we launch projects and find momentum in whatever it is we are pursuing. But keep that cranked up to level 10, and you'll be sure burnout will find you at some point. This is definitely how I functioned in the first half of my business until burnout found me, and burnout found me pretty good. It started out as fatigue, irritation, frustration. It then progressed to overwhelm and having difficulty making decisions. I then started to lack the motivation to create and became angry, resentful. My burnout got so bad that getting dressed or making myself a tea or even feeding my dogs felt like a massive chore. At first, I did the obvious. I worked less. I relaxed more. I delegated tasks. I identified which things in my business were actually needed versus what my perfectionism was telling me I needed to do. I had to shift how I showed up in my business, how I used that ambition and drive in a way that was sustainable. And yet, my burnout still persisted. So then I had to do some reflection on why. When I had made all of these changes that was suggested by articles I read or videos I watched, I had to get to the root of this burnout so that I could continue to show up in my business and continue to take care of my mental well-being, my physical health for the long term. Because without me, my business doesn't exist. And that's when I hired a coach to help me. And I realized in those sessions that it wasn't the how I was doing something or the what I was doing, even though those two components were important in that equation. It was the why that I had lost touch with. So it was time to reconnect with that. At that point, I knew that I couldn't move forward, move ahead, or continue with my product-based business. So I took pause. And this took me through an obstacle course of more questions than answers. Even a dark night of the soul, which unfortunately didn't last a night. It lasted months. And I started to really get in touch with who I was, what I wanted out of life, what I valued, and where I would best fit. But also how I can serve my community in the best way. I reflected on my past, and I started to understand that there wasn't one specific thing that I was really good at or that I always returned to that I could start re-implementing or reintegrating into my business. I was multifaceted, multi-passionate. So that led me to a community and a course that services multi-passionate creatives to help them uncover their career archetype. And in this process, I dove deep into my personality traits, my skill sets, my gifts. We looked at Myers-Briggs, astrology, human design, so that I could start to see the through lines and start to weave certain things together to create a unique essence of who I was and how I could service my clients, my customers. Now that I have that clarity, I know the direction that I'm going in now. However, the pathway is still really foggy. But what I will say is the burnout is starting to finally lift. So to me, burnout is telling me that I'm misaligned somewhere in my life. I'm misaligned to my values in a certain circumstance, situation, business, and it's time to step back and reflect on where that burnout is stemming from and why. So I'm going to ask you, if you've ever felt burnt out by something, what is that saying to you? What is it trying to highlight for you? Do you need to delegate something? Do you need to work less? Or are you misaligned somewhere and you have to make adjustments, shifts, changes, or adaptations in order for you to become more aligned? Now, having said all of this journey has been a privilege, as challenging and scary and difficult as it has been. Hiring coaches is a privilege, which I was fortunate enough to have savings to be able to invest in. So I'm hoping that with this story and with the insights that I've shared here, that it points you in the right direction. And it doesn't require a significant monetary investment in order for you to do that work. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw those in the comment section, and I'd be happy to answer them as best I can. So just a few reminders before I sign off on this episode. If you find yourself burned out or not really sure where you want to go next, but know that you need change, understand that you're not alone, because I'm walking this path with you. And if you do need support in this space where you're unsure what's next, but you know you need to let go of where you are, find that support where you can, whether it's through other means of earning income for a temporary time, or speaking to friends, family, support groups, counselors, therapists, etc., to get that emotional and mental support, because this can be hard work, heavy work. But most importantly, understand that you're in this space because you're ready to grow into the next thing, that you've outgrown where you are or where you've been, and you're ready to grow into something new. this space is where new possibilities exist. So know that you've not failed. Know that you've done nothing wrong. But under all the discomfort, under all of the questions, under all of the grieving and the fear is opportunities of what's next, of what's new. And I guarantee it's not a place you've been before. So I want you to get curious and get excited about that. Thanks so much for listening and sharing this space with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a fellow creative soul who might need it. Until next time, my friends, stay curious and follow your soul-led path.